Picture this. You're trying to grow the absolute perfect slicing tomatoes. You go out and test 5 totally different types of mulch, hoping one of them is going to magically skyrocket your harvest. Come the end of the season, you weigh the tomatoes, and sure enough, the yields from each mulch group look a little different. But here is the ultimate puzzle. Did those different mulches actually cause the change in your tomato plants? Or is it just random chance?
It is so easy to just look at a few numbers and assume, yep, that mulch worked best. But in statistics, if we want to confidently answer whether one of those 5 mulches is actually superior, or if they're all basically doing the exact same thing, we can't just guess. We need a very specific, incredibly powerful mathematical tool.
So by the end of this explainer, you are going to completely master this tool. We're talking about the F distribution. You'll understand the exact mechanics of how it works, the formula behind it, and exactly how to apply it to real-world data to solve mysteries just like our tomato plant problem. We're going to break the math down step by step so you can see exactly what's happening under the hood.
Okay, let's get right into it. To solve our tomato problem, we need to transition from the dirt in the garden to the core statistical concept we use to actually analyze it. Let's meet the star of our show.
Fundamentally, the F distribution is a probability distribution that we use to test if multiple group means are equal, and we do that by comparing their variances. Think about what that actually means. If you've only got 2 groups, sure, a simple t-test might do the trick. But what if you have 3, 4, or like our example, 5 mulches? If we tried to run a bunch of individual tests back to back, our error rates would absolutely go through the roof. The F distribution is brilliant because it lets us compare all those groups at the exact same time without messing up our baseline accuracy.
Now, there are a few non-negotiable facts you've got to know about how this distribution behaves. First up, the curve is not perfectly symmetrical. It's actually skewed to the right. Second, its shape changes. There's a totally different curve for each specific set of degrees of freedom, which, if you remember, is based on how many groups and how many total samples you have. Third, your calculated F statistic will always be greater than or equal to 0. And finally, as those degrees of freedom get larger and larger, the curve stretches out and starts to look a lot like a normal bell curve.
Let's do a quick check here to make sure we're on the same page. Looking at those facts, you might be asking, wait, can an F statistic ever be negative? The answer is a firm, absolute no. And why is that? It's because the F statistic is built entirely on variances, which are squared values. And anytime you square a number, whether it's negative or positive, the result is always positive. Keep that in your back pocket. If you're ever taking a test and calculate a negative F statistic, stop and check your math immediately.
Now that we've got a solid handle on the basic idea and the shape of the distribution, let's look at how the F statistic, which is also known as the F ratio, is actually built from your data.
The really crucial point here is understanding exactly what we're comparing. The F ratio is basically a battle between 2 types of variance. On one side, we have the factor, or the between variance. This is the actual difference between our mulch groups. You can think of this as the signal, the real effect the mulch is having. Now on the other side, we have the error, or the within variance. This is just the natural, random variation of tomatoes growing in the exact same mulch. Think of this as the noise.
And that brings us to the core formula. F equals the mean square between divided by the mean square within. Or, even more simply put, signal divided by noise. If your signal, that difference between the mulches, is much, much larger than the random noise within the groups, you're going to get a high F ratio. And a high F ratio tells us, hey, something real is happening here. This isn't just random chance.
Let's make this super concrete by taking that formula and applying it directly back to the actual data from our garden.
If we look at the ANOVA table for our tomato yields, I want you to focus on the MS column. That stands for mean squares. Our factor, or between mean square, which is our signal, is over 9.1 million. Huge, right? Meanwhile, our error, or within mean square, the random noise, is about 2 million. So to find our F statistic, we simply divide that between number by the within number.
When we divide 9.1 million by 2 million, we get 4.4810. And boom, that is our F statistic. Because it's significantly larger than 1, it strongly suggests our signal is overpowering our noise. But, to be absolutely mathematically certain, we can't just stop there. We have to convert this ratio into a p-value using that F distribution curve we talked about earlier.
Our calculated p-value comes out to 0.0248. Let's compare that to a standard 5% significance level, or 0.05. Since 0.0248 is less than 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis. So what does that actually mean for you, the gardener?
It means the mulches definitely made a difference. It wasn't just a fluke. At least one of those mulches fundamentally changed the tomato yield.
Okay, let's look at a completely different scenario to really test your comprehension here. This time, instead of tomatoes, we're going to compare the mean grades of sisters across 4 different sororities. We want to know, are the grades actually statistically different between the houses, or are we just looking at random variation?
Wait, before we look at the results, there is a super important term you need to know: balanced design. In this sorority example, exactly 5 sisters were sampled from each of the 4 sororities. Because every single group has the exact same number of observations, it is perfectly balanced, and practically speaking, this just makes calculating our variances a whole lot smoother. All right, here are the calculator outputs from sampling those sororities. Our F statistic is 2.23, which gives us a p-value of 0.1241. Now, our strict significance threshold, or alpha, for this particular test is 1%, so 0.01. I'm going to throw this back to you. Since our p-value of 0.1241 is greater than our 0.01 threshold, what is our conclusion?
You guessed it, we failed to reject the null hypothesis. The math is telling us there is simply not enough evidence to prove a difference among the mean grades of the sororities. The signal just wasn't strong enough to cut through the noise. Any differences we saw in those grade averages were most likely just random, everyday variation. So far, we've kind of been relying on calculator outputs to do the heavy lifting. But to truly master this concept, we need to roll up our sleeves and calculate the F statistic completely from scratch. We're going to use a classic classroom experiment for this one.
Imagine we have 3 students growing bean plants in completely different types of soil. Tommy used outside dirt mixed with some lint, Tara used standard potting soil, and Nick used soil straight from his mother's garden. Each of them grew exactly 5 plants. Take a look at the baseline sample means and variances we collected from their plants at the end of the experiment.
This is going to brilliantly illustrate how we build that F ratio straight from the raw data. Step 1, we calculate the variance of our 3 group means, which gives us 0.413. Next, for step 2, we find the mean square between. We do this by multiplying that variance by our sample size of 5, giving us 2.065. Moving to step 3, we find our mean square within simply by taking the average of the 3 sample variances, and that comes out to 15.433. And finally, step 4, we divide the between by the within, signal over noise.
When we divide 2.065 by 15.433, we get an F statistic of 0.134. Notice how incredibly small that number is. It's much, much less than 1. That immediately tells us that our noise, the random variance happening within the individual plant groups, is actually way bigger than our signal, the variance between the different soil types. And when we look up an F statistic of 0.134, we get a massive p-value of 0.8759. So final check here, are the heights of the bean plants statistically different based on the soil they used? No way. With a p-value that high, we absolutely do not reject the null hypothesis. The dirt they chose didn't make a significant difference at all.
All right, let's pull all of this together. We made a learning promise at the start of this explainer, and here are your absolute key takeaways. The F distribution is what allows us to compare multiple groups simultaneously. It is always skewed to the right and always positive. Its core engine is the F ratio, which is just comparing between group variance to within group variance. And most importantly, it's the tool that solves real-world questions, like which mulch to use, or whether potting soil actually gives you a better bean plant.
You now have the exact tools needed to look at any categorical data and separate the true, meaningful signal from all that random noise. So I want to leave you with this. Whether you're looking at business metrics, scientific experiments, or you're just trying to optimize your own backyard garden, what hidden patterns could ANOVA and the F distribution reveal in your own